Is it visible for your side?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. You have to just write down www dot or only Moodle WC. You just need to click on it. When you will enter to our Moodle, you will have this kind of folder here, syllabus of UG and PG 2020-21. So after that, here is all syllabus of all the branches available in our college. This is PG syllabus and this is UG syllabus. Okay. Now here is a Civil 3-4, Civil 5-6, Civil 7-8, CSE 3-4, CSE 5-6, CSE 7-8. Okay. So this is your syllabus because you have to, you are appearing in the semester of third and fourth. First year will be having first and second semester. Second year is having third and fourth semester. So for that purpose, you are right now occupying CSE third and fourth semester. Okay, so your syllabus lies here. Okay, so both the semester syllabus is included here. So once you will click on it, it will get downloaded. I have already downloaded, so I am not going to click on it. Okay, in your download section, you will have this kind of file CSE 3-4. Okay, this is your syllabus. You just have to check it out. Okay, so whole syllabus is included here of first semester and then second semester of your second year. It means third and fourth semester. Okay, so right now, yeah, this is database engineering. Okay, so you can get it. Just a minute, some of the students are waiting. All are included. Okay. So we will start with our session. In last lecture, we came till applications of DBMS. Okay. So now we are going to see what are the advantages of DBMS. So first of all, I would like to tell once again that DBMS is a collection of program that manages the database structure and control access to data stored in data. Okay. So everything is programmed in our computer system from small calculation, though it may be mathematical, textual, anything, to the higher-most calculation, everything is programmed. Okay, please mute yourself if you are unmuted. So DBMS serves as an intermediate between user and the database, and the database structure itself is stored as a collection of files, so we can access the data in those files through our DBMS. So DBMS provides an intermediate between those files and user. Okay. All users are not aware with DBMS, but they can handle data using these applications. So this database is having lots of advantages like improved data sharing, data security, data integration, minimize data inconsistency, improve data access. Okay, so there are lots of advantages available here. So first one, we can say that data independence. So application program should be as free as possible from details of data representation and storage. Okay, so DBMS can supply an abstract view of data for insulating application code from such facts. It means you have to hide something from something. अगर मैंने एप्लीकेशन प्रोग्राम लिखा है तो कैसे लिखा है इसकी यूजर को जरूरत नहीं है. So user just wants that he wants only particular data from database. Okay, this is the need. So that data independence means what? Any change in your application program or any change at any level of database is not affecting to the other layer. Okay, अगर मैंने क्या किया एप्लीकेशन प्रोग्राम में चेंज किया है तो डेटाबेस में उसका कोई अफेक्ट नहीं होना चाहिए. अगर डेटाबेस में मैंने कोई चेंजेस किया है तो डेटा एप्लीकेशन प्रोग्राम में कोई चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए और इन दोनों का चेंज इज नॉट गोइंग टू अफेक्ट यूजर. Okay, so this is called as a data independence. After that, efficient data access. So DBMS utilizes a mixture of sophisticated concepts and techniques for storing and retrieving data competently. And this feature becomes important in case where the data is stored on external storage devices. So we can simply say that DBMS makes it possible to produce quick answer to Hadoop queries. And from database perspective, we can say that the query is a specific request issued to the DBMS for data manipulation. And that query can be anything. We can read data, we can update data, we can delete data, and we can simply put any query or any extension of data onto that database. So that is called as our data access. And this data access is done by user, and that must be an efficient way. As I told you, if you are using a particular data independence property on your DBMS and application program, so the data access will be definitely an efficient way. Next one is data integrity and security. So if the data is accessed through the DBMS can enforce integrity constraint on the data. So wider access to well-managed data promotes an integrated view of the organization operation and a clear view of big picture. So it becomes much easier to see how actions on one segment of the company affect the other segment. So this is all about the data integrity and how we are going to provide security. So DBMS is having one property of privileges. Through privileges are nothing but called as an authority. Okay, so via application programs or via code, you can provide privilege to any particular user. So more users access this data, the greater the risk of data security breaches. So corporations invest considerable amount of time, effort, and money to ensure that corporate data are used properly. So that's why DBMS provides a framework for a better enforcement of data privacy and security policies. So who provides these privileges? So the main person who is called as the data administration provides these privileges to other users. So when several users shares the data, integrated administration of data can offer major improvements. So as per the improved professional understanding, the nature of the data is being managed. And the only administration person is responsible for organizing the data representation as well as to reduce the redundancy of the data to make that data retrievable, easily retrievable. Okay. So this is all about the advantages. There are lots of advantages available there. I told you some of the list, but most of the important are put on this slide. Okay. Now the purpose of DBMS. Definitely, one's drawback are solved with other one that leads to create the purpose of that thing. Okay, understood what I said? किसी भी एक चीज का जो ड्रॉबैक है वो अगर कोई अदर चीज ओवरकम कर रही है तो वो उसका पर्पस बन जाता है. So in the same way, in previous eras, we found that there are different file systems available for data storage. But file systems are having some kind of drawbacks, and that leads to reduce the efficiency of accessing data, integrity of accessing data, security, reduce security of data also. So first of all, we need to understand what are the drawbacks of using any file system to store that data. So first thing is that data redundancy and data inconsistency. Okay, so what is data redundancy and what is inconsistency? So multiple file formats are available there. Okay, there is not only one single file available in our data format. As our DBMS provides lots of data types available, numerical, character, then short text, then varchar, then blob, glob, number of different data types are available there to store your images, videos, large object videos or anything. So these kind of data can create a duplication. So these kind of data duplication creates an inconsistency in data. So that file system is not providing and to overcome facility, a data redundancy and inconsistent. So in short, we can say that data redundancy is nothing but the data duplication. The same data can be created multiple times. It's called as a data duplication. After that, and if it is creating data duplication, definitely your storage will be having inconsistent data. Okay. After that, difficulty in access of data. As we are having redundancy in our data, inconsistency in our data, definitely you will have a difficulty in accessing data. If in my class I am having Vaishnavi candidate 2 to 3 times, and if I'm not assigning, if they are not written their surname, middle name in their data storage, so what will happen if college has not provided any particular unique ID like PRN number? So what will happen if I want to give any particular marks to Vaishnavi? Which Vaishnavi will acquire that marks? So this kind of confusions will be created. So that's why. And if I want to find out Vaishnav how much marks will be opted by particular candidate, so these kind of difficulties will arises. So file system is having difficulty in accessing data. So we need to write a new program to carry out each new task. Then and then only we can have data, particular data. Next one is the data isolation. As I told you, if we are having large amount of database, we need to store large amount of files also. So that can be any type of file, and it can have multiple files and formats also. Next one is the integrity problem. Integrity constraints become a part of program code, which is hard to new constraint or change existing one. So that is also we have studied as an advantage of DBMS. Next drawback is atomicity and of updates. So this file system becomes failure when it leaves database in an inconsistent state with partial updates carried out. When we are having any data and when we have updating any data partially, it means I just want to update any email ID only. At that time, it will create some kind of failures. So it is not providing any particular atomicity. So here I have provided an example of atomicity because this atomicity is going to become a property of DBMS in upcoming lectures. So what is the example of this one? So to transfer of funds from one account to another should either complete or not happen at all. Okay. So the next drawback of this file system becomes concurrent access by multiple users. As I told you, it is difficult just because of data inconsistency, data redundancy. We need to apply the concurrent access by multiple users. So this concurrent access needed to be performed. So that's why it provides an uncontrolled concurrent access can lead to inconsistency. What will be the example of this one? So two people's reading a balance and updating it at the same time. Suppose my same account, I want to withdraw balance and at the same time, suppose my one family member want to debit some amount into it. So credit some amount into it. So what will happen? So such kind of inconsistency and uncontrolled concurrent accesses are not possible with this file system. Sometimes it will also provide some kind of security problems also. So this database management system is providing lots of solutions to overcome these kind of problems arise due to file system. So let's look a short on difference between our file system and database management system. So 8 differences are written here in a simplified way. So first of all, what is file system? File system is a software that manages and organizes the files in a storage medium within a computer. But what is DBMS? DBMS is a software for managing the database. Second one, redundant data can be present in file system. But DBMS is overcoming this data duplication. So there is no any doubt that DBMS contain any redundant data. So in DBMS, there is no any redundant data. In file system, it does not provide backup and recovery of data if it is lost. Okay, so I hope all of you are aware with the backup and recovery concept because all of you are using smartphones. So for WhatsApp, once you have gone through the message of would you like to take a backup of last week or last month? Okay, so these kind of backups you can have. And recovery means if you are having any loss of data, so you can recover it. So these kind of facilities are not available with file system. Okay, so I hope all of you have gone through that. If you have deleted some data, so it will go to your recycle bin. Okay. So once you will open that recycle bin and you will get one option there that restore. So if you have not permanently deleted that data, you can restore back to particular location. That is called as a recovery, and that is not possible with file system. But in DBMS, it is possible. Next, in file system, there is no efficient query processing, but we are having an efficient query processing in our DBMS because of our SQL, structured query language, as well as OLAP. Okay, online analytical processing, which is provided by DBMS, that we will see in upcoming lectures also. Next one is in file system, there is less data consistency in file system. And in DBMS, there is more data consistency because of the process of normalization. So in last lecture, at the time of introduction, I told you that why normalization process is important. Okay. And to reduce this inconsistent redundancy, normalization plays a vital role. Okay, in this DBMS. Next one is sixth one. It is less complex as compared to DBMS. Definitely, if we are having some kind of properties and benefits, it is going to become little bit complex. So file system is simpler one because it is not providing any facility to provide the security, integrity, and everything, the redundancy or the query processing. As our database management system is providing some kind of facilities for betterment of handling of that data, definitely it will become a little bit complex. Next one is file system provide less security as compared to DBMS, and DBMS is more secure. I don't think it needs to get clarified because everything is cleared in previous statements. And the last one is the cost one. As file system is not providing much more facilities, and the most important facility is security. So it is less expensive than DBMS, and DBMS is little bit costlier because it is providing security. So this is the difference between file system and DBMS. Okay, so from your era, or we can say previous, as the DBMS arise, we are using DBMS for our database management, database handlings. Okay, we are not using file system. For sometimes, for small portion of data or small quantity of data, we are using file system. But no doubt, we are using DBMS everywhere. So this DBMS is having some kind of components. Okay, so what are the components? So first of all, these components are beneficial when we are having the data, because instead of data, we don't use our database. Okay, so data is that resource for which DBMS was designed. The motivate behind the creation of DBMS was to store and utilize the data. Okay, so user is going to save that data, user is going to retrieve that data, and user is going to create the data about data. Okay, so everything is assigned with that data and user, and the data about data is called as a metadata. So the information stored by DBMS to better understand the data stored is called as a metadata. So let's take an example of metadata. When I store my name in database, the DBMS stores when the name was stored in database, what is the size of that name? Is it stored as related data to the some other data, or is it independent one? So this is all about the data about the data. Okay, so this data leads to use this component of DBMS. So second component of DBMS will be definitely procedure, as we are having it. So procedures refers to the general instructions to use a database management system. This includes procedure to set up and install DBMS, to log in, log out DBMS software, to manage access the database. Okay. Next component will be accessing language. So these are the roughly I'm telling the things which are components of our DBMS. Okay. So basically in most of the books you will have this kind of diagram. Okay, here in right side, this diagram I have taken from the website of w3schools.in. Okay, you can check it out there also. That is the best one. I thought that this will be the beneficial to understand the what are the components of this DBMS. So this is the database. This is the database management system, which will act as an intermediate between this end user and database. But user cannot directly, sometimes it can directly interact with DBMS, but sometimes it has to use, or the end users have to use some kind of database applications. So we can say that these four things are the basic components of DBMS, because they are going through some kind of computer utilities. That is the end user, database application, database management system, and actual our database. These four are called as components of our DBMS. So first of all, users. So what is user? User may be me, you, any other person can be called as a user. Okay. So user may be any kind of such as database administrator, system developer, or database user. There are some kind of users available that we will see in detailed architecture of DBMS. Okay, once you will have these kind of statements to get into consideration with, so you will get easy with this database. Okay. So in short, let me tell you what are users. Okay. So डेटा एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर कौन होता है, जो डेटाबेस का स्ट्रक्चर डिफाइन करता है और ये प्रिविलेजेस डिसाइड करता है कि कौन सी प्रिविलेजेस किसको दी जाए. अगर मैं डेटाबेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर हूँ तो SYCSE क्लास में अगर मैंने 4 पर्सन ऐसे डिसाइड किए कि जिनको मैं किसी एक को डेटाबेस में डेटा इंसर्ट करने के लिए बोलूंगी, लेकिन उसको सिर्फ इंसर्ट करने की ही अथॉरिटी में दूंगी, वो अपडेट नहीं कर सकता, वो डिलीट नहीं कर सकता, रादर वो शो भी नहीं कर सकता. ही जस्ट नीड टू इंसर्ट एनी डेटा. कोई दूसरा पर्सन है जिसको मैंने अपडेट के लिए बोला, इन द सेम वे ही विल जस्ट एंड अपडेट दैट डेटा, ही इज नॉट गोइंग टू शो एनी पर्सन. और अगर मैंने किसी एक को बोला कि कोई डेटा शो करो, तो वो पर्सन उतना ही बोलेगा. इसका और एक सिंपल मैं एग्जांपल देना चाहूंगी. अगर आप किसी भी पोस्ट ऑफिस में गए होंगे तो वहाँ पे सेक्शंस होते हैं. ओके, सो पोस्ट ऑफिस का सपोज कोई डेटाबेस सिस्टम है तो उसको सपोज हम कहेंगे PODB. ओके, पोस्ट ऑफिस डेटाबेस जैसे मैंने नाम दिया. तो वहाँ पे जो एम्प्लॉय होते हैं, तो कोई एम्प्लॉय क्या करता है, कोई एम्प्लॉय पैसे क्रेडिट करने के लिए लेता है, पैसे भरने के लिए लेता है अकाउंट में, तो वो लाइन अलग रहता है. One person is available there that is going to just debit some amount. Okay, वो पर्सन क्या करता है कि और बाकी पर्सन लोगों को जिनको पैसे की जरूरत है वो उस अकाउंट में से बाय प्रोसीजर, डॉक्यूमेंटेड प्रोसीजर वो उनको देने के लिए अलाउ करता है. लेकिन एक पर्सन ऐसे होता है जो क्या करता है, जो सिर्फ हमारा पासबुक भर के देता है. ओके, so we can say that who is going to credit some amount into account that is going to insert some kind of data. Then next thing, who is going to debit some amount that can be called as some kind of updations in data. And who is going to show only data that can be called as only selection of data. Okay, so these are the types of authorization which will be provided by database administration. System developer, definitely he is going to provide that development of our database. Okay, this is the first component. We will see in elaborated way in upcoming lectures also. Next one is database application. Yes, all are listening. Am I clear to everyone? Am I audible? Priyanka? Pallavi?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yeah, good morning everyone. Shrutika, good morning. Shreyas, good morning. Okay, so little bit jokes apart, everything is online. So. Okay, so next one is database application. What is database application? Database application will be called as a intermediate between DBMS and end users. Okay, sometimes. So it may be any departmental, it may be any personal, it may be any organizational, or it may be any internal application. Okay, so to give the simplest example about your database application will be student database. Okay, where all of you have gone through the admission process. Okay, so the software or the let's see URL, whatever you have used for admission process, that will be acting as a database application, because whatever you are providing data, it is going to store in database via DBMS. Okay, that is database application. And what is DBMS? It is the software that allows users to create and manipulate database access. So, अगर कोई यूजर डेटाबेस एक्सेस करना चाहता है तो कभी कभी जो डायरेक्टली हम कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर पाते उसको डेटाबेस एप्लीकेशन के थ्रू डीबीएमएस के थ्रू हम डेटाबेस के पास जाते हैं. तो डेटाबेस और डीबीएमएस क्या करता है, डेटाबेस से डेटा निकाल के वो डेटाबेस एप्लीकेशन थ्रू वो हमें हमारी स्क्रीन पे दिखाई देता है. So this is all about DBMS. And the last one is our actual database. It is the collection of logical data as a single unit. Okay, so हमारा क्या होता है, पूरा जो डेटा है वो यहाँ पे स्टोर रहता है. Okay, so these are the components of our DBMS. Next one is database architecture. So what is the architecture? We have seen some components. So these components are arranged in particular sequence also. Just a minute, let me drink some water. When you are arranging something in a particular way to utilize it with more efficiently, that is called as a architecture. Okay, so not only civil, any constructional or any building architecture, we are also having one kind of architecture, that is database architecture. Okay, so a database management system architecture will help us to understand the components of DBMS and relation among them. Definitely the statement is true, because we are arranging those components in a particular way, or they are having a relation in a particular way that user can access all the data efficiently. So the architecture of our DBMS depends on the computer system on which it runs, definitely. So let us take an example of this architecture. The most simple one that we are using right now, client and server DBMS architecture. So as I told you one example of that, your application form. So your desktop through which you are filling that form, okay, that system will act as a client one, and the system which will store your all data, that system will act as a server. Okay, so client side, it means your side will send a request, please take my application into consideration because I have filling all the requirements needed for particular exam. Server will think about all your field data, he will check and he will respond, okay, we have submitted your all data. Okay, otherwise he will respond you like some data is missing, please upload your photo. Okay, so in simple way we can say that client is at local site, server is at remote site. Client sends request to server and server responds to client. So in this way, this client server DBMS architecture will work. This is the simple one. So the database system at server machine can run several requests made by client machine. Okay. So this database management system architecture are again divided into three types of architecture. ऐसे नहीं है कि क्लाइंट सर्वर आर्किटेक्चर ही मार्केट में अवेलेबल है. There are three types of architectures. Okay, so each type के आर्किटेक्चर को उसके वर्किंग डेटाबेस के स्टोरेज पे क्लासिफाई किया गया है. इसके बेसिस पे क्लासिफाई किया गया है. DBMS architectures are divided into three types on the basis of the communication between them with database and storage of data, the location of storage of data. Okay, so let me tell you which are those three types of DBMS architecture. First one, single tier architecture. Second one, two tier architecture, and the third one is the three tier architecture. Okay, this is the simplest one and most interesting architectures, easy to remember. You will you don't need to memorize these things. You don't need much more efforts to memorize these things. Okay, so what is single tier architecture? Okay, as I told you, one will send request, one will respond. Okay, so only one machine will be there who will send request and who will send respond to himself. That will be called as a single tier. So client and server, अगर कोई मशीन दोनों के रोल प्ले कर रही है तो that architecture will be called as a single tier architecture. At the same time, that single machine will occupy database also. So in this type of architecture, the database is readily available on the client machine, and any request made by client does not require a network connection to perform the action on the database. Why? Why that client does not require a network connection? Because the same machine is acting as a server. Why it is acting as a server? Because the database itself is present on the same machine. अगर मेरे पास ही डेटाबेस है तो मैं क्या करूंगी, मैं ही रिक्वेस्ट सेंड करूंगी और मुझे ही डेटा मिलेगा. So that's why that architecture will act as a single tier architecture. Okay, so in our record format, let's have a look on example. Let's say that you want to fetch the record of employees from the database, and the database is available on your computer system. So the request to fetch employee details will be done by your computer only, and the record will be fetched from the database by your computer as well. This type of system is generally referred as a local database system, and this type of architecture is called as a single tier architecture. Here I would like to show only image of desktop because it is active. So we can say that it is a single tier architecture. Okay. What is two tier architecture? What is two tier architecture? ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई टायर यहाँ पे असाइन किया रहता है. On the basis of location of components of DBMS, these architectures are made. So here we can say that here is a diagrammatic representation of two tier architecture. Okay. So here you can see that this is the client machine, this is the server machine. In client machine, user is going to handle send request. Okay, but how he is going to send that request? Through database application. Okay, but database is not available in this machine. Database is available in another machine. and that machine is server machine. But how we are going to communicate with each other? We are providing network connection to communicate between this client machine and server machine. Then and then only this whole architecture will be called as a two-tier architecture. Okay, so in simply way we can say that client machine पे यूजर होगा जो रिक्वेस्ट सेंड करेगा, किसकी हेल्प से सेंड करेगा? वो डेटाबेस एप्लीकेशन की हेल्प से रिक्वेस्ट सेंड करेगा. किसको सेंड करेगा? डेटाबेस मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम को सेंड करेगा. लेकिन वो डेटाबेस मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम कहाँ पे होगा? वो सर्वर मशीन पे होगा. लेकिन क्लाइंट मशीन एक साइड में है, सर्वर मशीन एक साइड में है, तो उन दोनों को कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए हमें क्या चाहिए? नेटवर्क कनेक्शन चाहिए. Then and then only we can have communication between these two systems. Okay, so that's why this is called as a two-tier architecture. So in two-tier architecture, just a minute. हाँ मॅडम मी लेक्चर मध्ये आहे, तुम्हाला नंतर करू. So in two-tier architecture, the database system is present at the server machine and DBMS application is present at the client machine. So these two machines are connected with each other through a reliable network, and whenever client machine makes a request to access particular database present at server side, we need to use queries. And which kind of queries? We will use SQL queries. Those are called as structural query language. So server performs the request on the database and returns the result back to the client. The application connection interface such as JDBC, ODBC are used for the interaction between server and client. Okay, so at the time of lab session, we will see this kind of one program also, how we are implementing any Java program and how you are communicating with any database. Okay, by using this JDBC and ODBC connections. These will act as an interface. Okay, so how you are using this communication, how you are connecting two machines to each other, how you are using that database through that communication. We will see it at the time of lab session. And the last most architecture will be three-tier architecture. Okay, so here are the four components. First one is the client machine, then application, then database management system and database. Okay, so application and user will lie on one side, but यहाँ पे क्या होगा? एप्लीकेशन के भी दो पार्ट होंगे, एक क्लाइंट एप्लीकेशन होगा और एक सर्वर एप्लीकेशन होगा. क्लाइंट एप्लीकेशन को यूज करेगा यूजर, सर्वर एप्लीकेशन को यूज करेगा डेटाबेस मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम. सो ऑल अदर थिंग्स आर सेम. ओके, सो डेटाबेस यूजर को रिक्वेस्ट सेंड करना है तो ये क्लाइंट डेटाबेस मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम के एप्लीकेशन थ्रू सर्वर डीबीएमएस एप्लीकेशन को भेजेगा, वो प्रोसेस करेगा, उसका रिजल्ट देगा डीबीएमएस को. डीबीएमएस डेटाबेस जो यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट है उसमें से डेटा फेच करके इन द सेम वे ही विल रिस्पॉन्ड टू यूजर. ओके, सो इन three-tier architecture, another layer is present in between the client and machine, and so in this three-tier architecture, another layer is present between the client machine and the server machine. So the client application does not communicate directly with the database system present at the server machine. Rather, the client application communicates with the server application, and the server application internally communicates with database system present at server side. So these are the three-tier architectures. Okay, so what we have seen today, this we will see later on. Okay. So today we have seen what are the advantages of database management system, data independence, data access, integrity, security, administration, then consistency of data. Then we have seen purpose, but to see the purpose, we have seen the drawbacks of file system. So to overcome these drawbacks, we are using this database management system. After that, we have gone through the difference between file system and DBMS. Then we have seen the four basic components of our DBMS, okay? And the flow, how they work. After that, we have gone through database architecture. What type of architectures are there? What are the roles of each and every architecture? So there are basically three types of DBMS architecture: single tier architecture, two tier architecture, three tier architecture. Okay, and working of each and every architecture. So I would like to ask question. Is there any query? Yes, is there any query? If you have any query, please tell me. Yes.
Server side application and client side application. Can you please elaborate more on?
येस 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 सर्व्हर साइड ऍप्लिकेशनला कन्सिडर करा की तुमचं आपलं जे आता मी फॉर्म भरण्याची प्रोसेस जी सांगितली होती तीच घेऊया. तुमच्या साईडला एक ऍप्लिकेशन आहे ज्याच्यामध्ये तुम्ही तुमचा युजर आय डी पासवर्ड वगैरे असं कन्सिडर करताय. ओके, तुम्ही डेटा फक्त काय करताय तिथे पुट करताय, पण सर्व्हर साईडला तो काय करतोय व्हेरीफाय करतोय. हाच फक्त तिथं डिफरन्स आहे. म्हणजे आता तुम्हाला ऍडमिशन घ्यायचं आहे कुठल्या तरी इन्स्टिट्यूटला आणि तुम्ही डेटा फिल करताना काय देणार 10वीचं मार्कशीट 12वीचं मार्कशीट जर तुम्हाला काही कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट व्हॅलिडिटी काही डेटा जो लागत असेल तो तिथे तुम्ही फिल करणार बरोबर. आणि तो फिल केलेला डेटा बरोबर आहे की नाही हे कुठं चेक केलं जाणार सर्व्हर साईडच्या ऍप्लिकेशन. ओके, मग तो तुम्ही दिलेल्या एमबी तिथं प्रोव्हाइड केलेल्या साईज मध्ये फिट आहे का किंवा जे आता आपण इमेज प्रोसेसिंग किंवा आपण काय ते म्हणतो डिजिटल चेकिंग जे होतं ते तहसीलदारचा शिक्का आहे का तुमचं नॉन क्रिमिनल आहे का हे त्या सर्व्हर साईडच्या ऍप्लिकेशनला होणार आणि तो डेटा तुमचा तिथं डेटाबेसला स्टोअर होणार. हे म्हणजे आपलं एक सिम्पल म्हणजे तुम्हाला जर तुम्ही डेटा फिल केलेला आहे तुमच्या रेकॉर्डला ओके आणि सपोज तुम्ही 10वीच्या ऐवजी 12वीचं मार्कशीट फिल केलेलं आहे युजर साईड कडून फिल झालं पण स्टोअर करताना तुमच्या ऍप्लिकेशन थ्रू सर्व्हर साईडच्या ऍप्लिकेशन थ्रू लगेच तुम्हाला एक मेसेज पास होणार की इथं तुमचं हे चुकीचं आहे जर तशी कमांड दिली असेल तर. अदरवाईज तो तुमचा डेटा स्टोअर करून घेईल नंतर व्हेरीफाय करेल आणि नंतर तुम्हाला तो रिस्पॉन्स देईल. हा एक छोटासाच डिफरन्स आहे. क्लिअर?
Yes.
Okay. Any other?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello. Ma'am,
Yes.
2-tier architecture and 3-tier architecture मध्ये difference नाही का?
डिफरन्स नाही कळाला. ओके. 2 टायर आर्किटेक्चर मध्ये तुमचं डॉक्युमेंटचं व्हेरिफिकेशन थोडक्यात होणार नाही. आपण एक्झाम्पलला जर स्टिक राहिलो तर फक्त क्लायंट साईडचं जे काही ऍप्लिकेशन आहे ते आपण यूज करणार. म्हणजे मला काय करायचं आपला युनिव्हर्सिटीचा डेटाबेस आहे. ओके, मी आता माझ्या डेस्कटॉप थ्रू काय करते यूज करते आणि मला काय पाहिजे आता कोण आहे उदय कुमार याचा मला रेकॉर्ड बघायचा आहे. तर मी काय करणार डायरेक्टली उदय कुमारचे डिटेल्स देणार PRN नंबर सपोज दिला तर तो माझ्या ऍप्लिकेशन थ्रू माझ्या स्क्रीनला कुठलं ऍप्लिकेशन येतं त्या थ्रू काय होणार आहे डायरेक्ट डेटाबेस मधून मला ते रिट्राईव्ह होणार आहे. मला त्यासाठी व्हेरीफाय करून घ्यायची गरज नाहीये. तो डायरेक्टली तिथं डेटाबेस मध्ये प्रेझेंट असेल तर रिट्राईव्ह करेल नसेल तर तिथं नाहीये म्हणून सांगेल. आलं लक्षात?
Oh, yes.
या एनी अदर क्वेरी? Everything is clear? Yeah, I will send this PPT on this group, but after completion of our first module. Okay, so it will require some 3 to 4 lectures. So after that, I will provide. Okay, any other doubt? Okay, till then, let me stop recording.